After spending 6 months floating in space following the events that saw the fall of the UNSC Infinity and the partial destruction of Zeta Halo, the Master Chief, Spartan John 117, was recovered by Echo 216 Fernando Esparza. Fernando had himself been surviving in his Pelican for the 6 months prior to their first encounter. The difference here is that Fernando Esparza had rations and other resources aboard his Pelican that he could use to survive. Chief, however, only survived because his remarkable Gen 3 Mjolnir platform comes built in with a survival mode. We know precious little about this survival feature, but what we do know is that the Gen 3 platform is a stark improvement on previous iterations of Mjolnir. It was because of his Gen 3 platform that he could survive for 6 months on his own in space. However, when he made it groundside on Zeta Halo, there were other mitigating circumstances which meant that Chief would inevitably have to upgrade his Gen 3 platform on the fly in order to deal with the conflicts that lay ahead of him. And the story about how that came to be speaks volumes about the Master Chief's character, the sophistication of the Gen 3 platform, and the sacrifices of Master Chief's fellow Spartans. Hey everybody, welcome back to Installation 00, and today we're discussing how Master Chief's campaign on the Zeta Halo was helped indirectly by the sacrifices of Spartans and aided him invaluably to victory. As the Infinity fell to the banished assault, Captain Lasky ordered abandoned ship, and Spartan Hudson Griffin ordered that all Spartans evacuate immediately. 4 Spartans, including Griffin, would go on to perform their own feats on Zeta Halo but would ultimately perish. Their sacrifice helped keep UNSC forces operational on Zeta Halo, and each had something unique to bestow upon the Master Chief as humanity's last hope. Spartan Bonita Stone, Recon Specialist. Stone and a group of Marines evacuated from the Infinity on a lifeboat and landed on Zeta Halo, expecting to be immediately overrun by banished forces. They were surprised to find that the area around their LZ was completely unoccupied, and were even taken aback by the striking beauty of the ring's habitat. The following day, as Stone and the Marines swept the area, an explosion on the ring caused a fracture on its surface. Stone ordered the Marines to take cover in the lifeboat just in case, but the ground beneath the lifeboat began to crumble. Stone managed to pull the lifeboat from the breach using the combined strength and speed of her armour and her Spartan augmentations with the assistance of her armour's thrusters. Stone and her Marines linked up with UNSC forces at the wreckage of UNSC Mortal Reverie, the wreckage of the majoritively intact but undoubtedly inoperational frigate was designated as the UNSC base of operations. Stone reported to Spartan Griffin, the de facto leader, at the crash site. Soon after, Stone conducted a reconnaissance mission with Boulder Squad, having found a massive banished force being led by Chieftain Tremonius at Riven Gate in Sector 63. After the banished forces pushed UNSC ground troops back, forcing a complete retreat and dispersing UNSC forces over a wide area, Bonita Stone returned to the Reverie's crash site, which had now been converted into a banished outpost, named Outpost Tremonius. On April 26th, Stone had infiltrated the underground Forerunner structures underneath Outpost Tremonius. She made one final transmission to Spartans Makavik and Sorel, but cut the sitrep short when she realised she was not alone. Shortly after, Stone was attacked by banished forces. She fought off multiple banished troops before ultimately being killed by Jaeger Rudomnai. Master Chief discovered her body nearly a month after her death. The energy shield upgrade module she was carrying was picked up by the chief. This upgrade proved invaluable when fighting against the banished forces, multiple high-priority targets, the banished war chieftain Esherum, and the Harbinger thereafter. Spartan Hudson Griffin. Being part of Fireteam Taurus, the Master Chief had actually seen these Spartans in action and commented on how they were some of Infinity's finest Spartans. He had also seen them more recently on Reach during Operation Wolf. After evacuating the Infinity, Griffin became the de facto leader of the UNSC forces gathered at the Reverie crash site, from which the survivors conducted guerrilla warfare against the banished forces on the ring. Spartan Griffin would go on to lead Spartans Malik, Panago, and Sarka in an assassination attempt on the banished war chieftain Esherum. Esherum, most unfortunately, anticipated an assassination attempt. Banished forces ambushed the Spartan team, killing the other 3 Spartans outright, and leaving Griffin severely wounded. Before being captured, Griffin managed to send an encrypted message to warn the Reverie of an incoming banished attack. He was subsequently handed off to Chaklock for torture. Griffin was torn from his armour and placed in a device that used microgravity fields to put him in constant, debilitating pain. Griffin would remain in Chaklock's custody until the Master Chief arrived, defeated Chaklock, and freed Griffin from his restraints. Griffin warned him that the Banished were after something in the conservatory, and asked that Chief look for the other Spartans, before dying of his injuries in the Master Chief's arms. Master Chief took a moment to mourn the passing of Spartan Griffin. In truth, just moments before, the Chief had acquired Griffin's threat sensor, which was instrumental in enabling him to know the location of the camouflaged Chaklock, and gave him the strategic edge to take him down. Chief would go on to utilize Griffin's threat sensor for enhanced situational awareness in the uncharted combat areas he would see in the coming battles. Spartan Vadrana Makavik assisted in driving off banished forces attacking the Infinity and the innumerable smaller craft evacuating her as per Lasky's order. Upon making it to Zeta Halo's surface, she fought against Sentinels and banished forces while making her way to the Reverie, the UNSC command post on Zeta Halo's surface. Having received the encrypted message from Griffin to the Reverie warning of an impending banished assault, the UNSC forces at the Reverie braced for the banished attack. Despite the advanced warning, the banished assault under Chieftain Tremonius forced the UNSC forces to completely retreat from the Reverie. However, as per the Rubicon Protocol, Makavik and other Spartans continued to run guerrilla ops against the banished. Working on intel provided by Spartan Stone, Spartans Makavik and Sorel observed the banished excavation site, correctly deducing that the banished were looking for the installation's monitor, and then endeavoured to stall further excavation efforts for the coming weeks. When the banished excavation finally completed on May 15th, Makavik and Sorel infiltrated the conservatory. Inside, the two were ambushed by Jaeger-Rudomnai, with Spartan Sorel being severely wounded by the surprise attack. Makavik urged the injured Sorel to run ahead and locate the monitor while she fended off the attack from Rudomnai. Makavik died in the following duel against the Sangheli. Master Chief would find her body 13 days later and paid his last respects. Her drop wall module was recovered by the Chief and would be utilised extensively in the ensuing conflicts, providing much needed cover from overwhelming firepower, as if she was still alive and providing cover for the Chief. Theodore Sorel, a special weapons expert, made landfall on the surface of Zeta Halo with a group of Marines. They had lost uplink to UNSC command and had been spotted by banished forces in the area. Sorel and the Marines were forced to hold their position. At some point before April 24th, Sorel regrouped with fellow Spartan Vadrana Makavik. Sorel went on to accompany Makavik on a recon movement to observe the banished excavation site, and assisted in delaying the progress for a few weeks. When they infiltrated the conservatory, the two were ambushed by the Spartan Radomnai, with Sorel being wounded by Radomnai's surprise attack. Having been urged to run ahead to locate the monitor of Installation 07, Sorel was likely unaware that Makavik had perished in the duel with their attacker. Sorel made a last stand deeper inside the facility, having killed multiple banished troops, before being killed by the Girolhane brothers, Tavares and Hyperius. Sorel's body remained inside the conservatory and was found on May the 28th by the Master Chief. Chief recovered Sorel's thruster module and vowed they had a score to settle with the banished. The thruster module would go on to help Chief engage banished forces and outmaneuver his opponents. All four of these Spartans were remarkable warriors in their own right. Their actions up to and including the conflict on Zeta Halo helped keep humanity going, helped keep UNSC forces active on Zeta Halo. And in their final moments, they demonstrated sheer Spartan power and fought to their very last breath. Their sacrifice was absolute, and the upgrades they left behind that were acquired by the Master Chief helped humanity's last hope endure, assisted humanity's saviour, and even in death continue to secure a future for humanity. Thanks for watching. Stick your comments down below. I look forward to what you have to say. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons and YouTube members Neek the Silent Cartographer, Siphonic Storm and Todd Morrison, my Tier 0 Transcendients, Brian, Sebastian, Darian, Red Sea, Stalk of the Realms, Falcon X003, Starlight, Alvin, Flaming Halo, Josh, Legions Lost, Kyle, Cat Erdicam, Schneidish, Leon, Ignizzle, Chris, Cooper, Prophet, and Devon, the holders of the mantle, my glorious reclaimers, my loyal Metarchs, and all the other patrons and YouTube members that have jumped aboard to support the channel. Much love to you guys. Thanks so much for your support. It's keeping things happening and helping development of the channel and future awesomeness in a big way. If you like Halo lore discussed to insane levels of detail, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you're told the second a new video hits the shelves. Be sure to support us on all major social media channels, including Discord, and if you really love the channel, consider heading over to Patreon and supporting the channel over there, or jumping on as a channel member. It means the world to me and affords you loads of great perks and bonuses, while also helping work towards some awesome stuff in the near and distant future. Take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.